Hello, hello, this is Fear Dragon coming at you with another StarCraft 2 netcast. Today we have the second game from the team TSL versus the team lesser known players. So anyways, let's go ahead and jump in and introduce these players. Spawning down here in the bottom right hand corner of Ohana, we have the Swedish Protoss player that I don't actually know too much about, but we're going to find out a lot about his playstyle in today's games. His name is ErA, and his opponent spawning in the top left-hand corner of Ohana as the Red Terran. He's a very well-known Code S level Korean Terran player. He was on a rampage a little while ago, but has kind of fallen off of the radar a little bit. We're going to see how well he does in this 1v1 against this foreigner. His name is TSLPolt. Now this game is from the HP Trophy number 2. This is in fact a very interestingly formatted tournament where it's not just one individual player entering into the tournament. You're actually entering in teams of 2, and the way that it works out is you actually play first one game, which is a 2v2, then you play a series of 1v1s with you and your ally, kind of alternating off, deciding and the main requirement is that you have to play at least one of the 1v1s, and it's a best of 5 format. So with game number 2, hopefully if you have seen game number 1 at this point, I probably will have put a little link in the bottom right hand corner of the screen just in case you hadn't. But if you have, you will know that ErA and his ally actually, Ziktomini, are basically up 1-0 against their Korean opponents. So ErA, looking to be in a good position in this game, can kind of use this game to try maybe something a little bit riskier that he wanted to do. Game number 2, I believe, is the most commonly cheesed game in best of 3s and best of 5s, I believe. But looks like for now we aren't going to be seeing anything too crazy. We do actually see 2 gas geysers already going down, so that is going to mean ErA is going to have a slightly delayed expansion if he decides to go for that, or he could also transition into some kind of big all-in-ish plays, probably like 3-gate robotics facility, although they have kind of fallen off the map and not quite in their former style. But you have to remember, ErA is up against a very top-level Korean Terran, and he might be a little bit nervous about trying to play a macro man. And actually, we see a nice little play from TSLPolt throwing down the engineering bay, going to delay that expansion even longer while he already has his halfway built. So definitely going to be very much worth it, as now it's going to force ErA to chrono boost out that stalker to get rid of that engineering bay. And actually we see, ooh, the probe trying to go for the interception on the SC. Oh my god, he actually gets it. Some great control from ErA with that low health probe getting his revenge. He said, hey, I lost my arm in the Terran base, and now I'm going to get my revenge. This is for my right arm, and this other one's for the Tabasco sauce I struck while you were chasing me. But in the meanwhile, TSLPolt, not really going to care too much about that Tabasco sauce that was dropped, is going to go ahead and throw down 2 extra barracks and throw down that bunker. So he's definitely looking to play a very macro-centric style. 2 barracks are generally just like the minimum kind of defense that you need after you go for that very fast 1-racks expansion. And we see ErA looking like he might not... Oh, I think this is a great play from ErA. I think that this is actually, yes, it is definitely going to be a fake out. He drew down this pylon, realized that potentially, I assume that he realized that his opponent was in fact going to be blocking the expansion for so long, he didn't want to play from that far behind, so he went ahead and threw down 4 additional gateways, going to be going for that 5-gate aggression. We will be seeing quite a few sentries as well. That's going to be very useful to force field off that bunker. And that's what those 2 gas geysers are definitely going to be useful for, and I really like this positioning, by the way. I just want to make a quick note of it. See, you have these units all the way out over here denying any kind of scouting to see TSLPolt. For all he knows, this expansion was already thrown down. That's what he can probably assume, or is going to, because there is this pylon over here. But little does he know that, in fact, ErA is gearing up for a ginormous bit of aggression. We actually might see TSLPolt feeling a little bit scared right now, not really too sure what's going on in his opponent's face. So he's going to throw down that sunken bunker. Now we do see the stalker kind of poking up, doing a little bit of damage to that bunker, getting a good count on how many Marines there are. Now we see the Marines actually coming out to do a little bit of aggression themselves. themselves, but little do they know that this giant army of force fields is moving out across the map. And I say force fields because that is what TSLPolt has to be so scared of, but he does have that Zell Naga tower. We're gonna have to wait and see. Oh, yes, okay, cool. He is leaving one single Marine over there, so that means once ErA does decide to move out with this army, which he really needs to move out soon, Polt will have a very good idea. But oh my god, a great play from ErA, actually just sending out that one stalker. He is not in the hugest rush, and even though I think this might actually come back to bite him a little bit, just the sense that he's not really taking advantage of the fact that this is a time-sensitive build. He's falling further and further behind. He is being very, very cautious to make sure that none of this gets scouted out, as he knows if this gets scouted out and the SCVs are immediately pulled, he's going to be in a terrible position. But we already see 2 Marauders out, and oh my god, it looks like TSLPolt somehow getting wind of this aggression, already pulls the SCVs. There's some great force fields stopping any of those SCVs from repairing from the back, but the SCVs are actually in the front, but it doesn't matter. All the SCVs get killed off, and now the Marines and Marauders are doing an insane amount of damage to these Zealots, but these Zealots are ripping through those bunkers, and the force fields and the sentries are dwindling. There are only 3 left, and none of them made enough energy for any more force fields, but the Zealot count is so low at this point, and there are still 3 Marauders and about 5 Marines left, but here we see a second warp-in round of those Zealots. There are 5 gateways, and it's definitely coming useful, and there's a force field on the ramp trapping all these units on the low ground. Oh my god, this is an insane play from ErA. I think he might actually be able to do this. It looks like he's actually trying to cut off this Terran army, doing some great surrounding with those Zealots, and now we see the sentries and those Zealots picking off the remaining Marauders, but there are still 2 Marines and 2 Marauders on the high ground with additional ones morphing in, but we do see now the Protoss units, ErA's army moving into the main, so now they're going to be on top of the production facilities if they can get rid of the rest of this army, and now we see the SCVs actually being pulled, and this is going to be so clutch. If TSLPolt can hold this, he can recover, even if he loses a lot of his SCVs. We can already see he's down to 21 SCVs versus 24 probes, and even though he's losing more, he's starting to clean up this army. He has 2 command centers, he can recover from this, and now we do see that this aggression is starting to wear thin. There are only 2 Zealots and 2 sentries left over, and now you have to remember, ErA is on such a low probe count that he cannot actually support 5 gateway of constant warp-in, so now we can see TSLPolt start to stabilize just a little bit. If he can get out of this bunker, I think he will be absolutely safe. But now we see it looks like ErA realizing he has no chance if he just tries to go back and play a macro game at this point. He is all in, so he might as well go completely all in. He's going to come in, he's going to be able to pick up this bunker, and all the units are completely out of position. The bunker is forced to be canceled, and now these SCVs are forced on the retreat a little bit. And oh no, TSLPolt, even though he does have those 2 command centers, he does not want to lose more workers than he needs to. And actually a great play. If he can actually pick off this command center, I don't think he'll be able to, but if he could do enough damage, delay this long enough, he might actually be able to expand himself and just stay and hold this position, forcing TSLPolt to get out those medevacs. But we actually already see the medevacs on the way. Do we see any upgrades? It looks like Stim is actually already done, and Combat Shields is now just beginning. And at this point, it looks like ErA gonna feel comfortable just moving back, realizing that he's delayed that expansion for long enough, and just gonna continue to warp in Zealots and Sentries. A very interesting decision over here to just warp in Zealots and Sentries. It's definitely a very cost-effective army if you can land those force fields. As Stalkers are very expensive and really don't do too well in those small army engagements. Now we do see, looks like TSLPolt finally able to stabilize a little bit and reclaim his expansion a little bit. And oh no, actually a pylon. This might not seem like a big deal, but losing that kind of pylon in this situation... Okay, if he had lost that pylon in this kind of situation, it'd actually be pretty bad, as he does not want to lose anything. He is already so far behind. And oh my god, look at this! There's actually a drop in the main of ErA, and oh no, the units on the army is completely out of position. It looks like TSLPolt going to be looking to be in a great position. There is not enough money for another Nexus, and the Nexus goes down. That's going to put TSLPolt into such a great position, and there's the GG. TSLPolt taking this game in a wonderful fashion after a miraculous hold. He manages to salvage the game and actually take out his opponent's main base with a double drop from the medevac. So very well played by both these players. That's actually going to tie this series up 1-1. Wow, awesome games. But we're going to have to see who's going to end up winning this. This is the best of 5, so that means there are at least 2 more games on their way. So let's go ahead and jump into game number 3 and see how this goes. I will see you guys there, but in the meanwhile, please go ahead and subscribe and like my YouTube channel and the video, and leave a comment below if you have any advice or, you know, any feedback, anything you'd like to see from me as a caster, or even as the producer of videos, if you don't like the overlay I put on and all that kind of stuff, let me know. Anyways, game number 3, guys. Get excited. I will see you guys there.